Dr. John Gottman interviewed hundreds of newlywed couples and followed them in longitudinal studies over many years. He was interested in understanding what predicts divorce. He asked couples to talk with their partners about subjects that typically represented areas of disagreement for them. What he noticed is that couples who remained happily married many years later showed 5 times more positive emotions and interactions than negative ones, and that this ratio differed significantly from couples who later got divorced. For couples whose marriage ended, this ratio was 0.8 to 1, or just under 1 positive for every negative. Then he looked more closely at different types of negative interactions among couples, and he found that there were 4 specific categories of negative communication that by themselves, holding other variables equal, could predict divorce years later with a high degree of accuracy. He called these behaviors the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. In this case, the apocalypse is not the end of the world, but the end of the marriage. Fortunately, each of these negative behaviors has a remedy or an antidote. The first horseman, criticism, is when you express a complaint about a situation as a problem with your partner's personality or character. For example, you never show any interest in me. Or you always throw me under the bus when around your friends. When we are critical of our partner, we aren't actually disclosing anything helpful or real about ourselves. We place the emphasis on our partner's, quote, badness. The remedy to avoid criticism is to define yourself, not your partner, to disclose something real and vulnerable about yourself in a way that helps your partner learn something about you. For example, you can express your feelings, that you feel hurt or worried. You can express something that you want in positive terms. The second horseman, contempt, is criticism combined with an attitude of superiority, as though you were looking down on your partner. Instead of just implying that your partner is always embarrassing you, for example, which is a criticism, you add in a negative label, such as "you're such an idiot." The remedy is to remind yourself that your spouse is not your enemy, is your friend, and to communicate your feelings from a place of respect and goodwill for your spouse. Contempt is the strongest predictor of divorce, and the horseman we ought to be most careful not to invite into our relationship. The third horseman, defensiveness, is when you try to protect yourself from a perceived attack, regardless of whether there is any intention to attack or not. The remedy is to work at not taking your partner's experience personally or as reflections of you, and to take responsibility for contributing to even part of the problem. The last horseman, stonewalling, is a form of freezing during conflict, where we stop giving any kind of verbal or nonverbal cues that we are engaged in listening. This is often due to our own physiology becoming overwhelmed. The remedy is to learn how to soothe ourselves through deep breathing, relaxation, mindfulness, and self-reminders so that we can stay engaged in the dialogue, and if needed, take a short break to calm the stress response flooding our system. The good news is that we can learn to recognize each of these horsemen. There are steps you can take to neutralize them and replace them with skills and tools that will help you work through your disagreements and be stronger for it. Call us today to book a consultation with one of our therapists to discuss your situation and make a plan for turning contention into opportunities for connection.